I gotta hold the mic to my mouth. I gotta remember to do that. So profesh. Hi. Welcome to Silver's Corner, I guess. Can I get a what in the house? Seriously, what? Anyway, welcome to my corner. I don't know how much you know about this channel, but this is Yap Sesh. It's a podcast I have with my three friends, Bree, Sanaya, and Ariane. But this is my quadrant of the channel where I do what I want to do. You know, I explore the content that I want to explore. We all have these quadrants. They'll be releasing their videos soon. But this is just so even when we're not together, we can still get a semi-consistent upload schedule. So yeah. Now when we discussed this idea, we were like, what are we gonna do for our channels? Like, like what are we gonna do for each of our quadrants? I knew what I was gonna do. Call an ambulance, but not for me. I knew what I was gonna do. See, I'm an English major and a nerd and gay. So the first thing that came to mind was, of course, analyzing all of my favorite like TV shows and movies. This included Steven Universe. Of course, this had to be my first video. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Steven Universe. So really, this was just par for the course, honestly. But today, that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be talking about queer representation told through fusion in Steven Universe, because the concept of fusion is something that really interests me, and I absolutely love it. So, without further ado, I mean, let's just dive right in. I'm about to dive. Anyway, let's do this. I know you peep the fit and you're thinking, what the fuck is that on her stomach? Let me tell you. I'm cosplaying Stevani, you see. The gem on my stomach. You know, she wears the red shirt with like the black top over it. You get it. You get it. You get it. You peep. You peep. The girls that get it. Anyway. Jesus. Anyway. We're gonna get into everything that Steven Universe does right and wrong about the concept of fusion, and like why is it such a confusing allegory? Because a lot of people think that on TikTok is like, oh, it's so confusing because this, and this. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. And I know you care about my opinion. Obviously, everyone was like, Silver, when are you going to share your very thoughtful and insightful opinion on this? Don't worry, I'm here now. Basically. Okay, so let's get into everything that it does well with queer representation, like told through fusion. Let's get into it. So firstly, that's two fingers. Firstly, we're going to talk about lapis and paradox aversion to fusion, and how I personally always believed that this was a like metaphor for arrow and ace identities. So we know that Lapis was in an abusive relationship with Jasper, and how that affected her, and how she now has an aversion to fusion. You know, Lapis and Jasper weren't good for each other. Lapis took out a lot of her anger on her. Jasper basically, Japis? Ship name? Kidding. Don't ship them. Jasper was also toxic and abusive in her own way, basically, like forcing Lapis to fuse a lot of the time. It's very messy. But I think that this was a metaphor for Arrow Ace. Like, her aversion to fusion is basically like an aversion to intimacy. Peridot also goes hand in hand with this, because Peridot has never had the urge to fuse or like felt the need to do it. She's just not really comfortable with the idea, which I also think is a representation for Arrow Ace. I think both of these storylines explore very real points on like the spectrum. Some having a complicated relationship with intimacy, and others just not having any like desire to explore it at all. So I think both are valid, of course, but I think that showcasing more than one way to be this identity was very like forward and progressive for the time, especially when, because this is a very underrepresented identity. I'm not Arrow Ace myself, but I see very few representation. I can only think of that guy from Heartstopper, to be quite honest with you, and Cash, I believe, from Heartbreak High. Those are the only two people I can really think of that have that identity. So I feel like it was very forward for the time, and I feel like that was a good thing that they did, showcasing like different points on the spectrum that you can be, different reasons you can have for having the identity that you have. Speaking of underrepresented identities, now we get into my bitch Stevani. Take this gem off, guys. It's getting really sweaty. So, like, if you see me with it in the beginning half of the video and then at the end I don't have it on, this is why I'm very sweaty in my home right now. Okay, so we're gonna get into Stevani. Okay, we're gonna get into Stevani, guys.
Well, I'm waiting for your fucking response. Are you just not gonna say anything, dumbass?
Stevani, I love them, obviously. I feel like they're very good representation for non-binary people. Me. Being me, you know, I'm non-binary. Hey, what up?
Give me he, she, we, they, them, non-binary, vegan, vegetarian. I'm scared. I'm gonna give it 2 stars.
Stevani is canonically non-binary and intersex and uses they, them pronouns, which is amazing. Like, I feel like I only know one other character. That just might be my limited, like, watching experience, of course. But I only know one other character, on-screen character, that uses they, them pronouns in an animated show, and that's Rain from Owl House, which Owl House video coming soon. If I did a Steven Universe one, you know I had to do an Owl House one. But everything that Stevani does right is just like, for me, the androgyny is amazing. I love the style that they have. I love their that they're a fusion between a male gem and a female human, making them somewhere in the middle or not identifying on the spectrum at all. I think their storyline just makes a lot of sense for their character. And I love that it was told through the concept of fusion. Like, I love a non binary identity being seen through the fusion of two different gendered people. I like that. I thought that was very interesting, honestly. My gem just fell off. Don't even pay attention to that. Stevani being on the gender spectrum and identifying as non-binary and using they them pronouns was huge for me. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. I loved feeling like represented on screen, and it was just like really uplifting. I don't know how to describe it, but it was really uplifting. I really enjoyed that. And I thought like the reveal of their identity told through fusion was just a really interesting concept, and one of my favorite things about the concept of fusion by far, like, was Stevani's introduction. So now we're gonna move on to my last pro, which is Garnet's lesbianism. Love it. Garnet is the physical being, like, representing the love of Sapphire and Ruby. And it's beautiful. We see that fusion isn't the problem with the diamonds. Like, fusion, they don't have an aversion to fusion. They have an aversion to fusion between different gems. And I think that this was supposed to be like a metaphor for like homophobia, you know, like, of course, like, I feel like that's common knowledge, but yeah, like, I think it's supposed to be a metaphor for homophobia, and it, like, is seen as reprehensible, which, like, a lot of, you know, same-sex relationships is seen in this world, unfortunately. And I think that seeing a story like Garnet's is really uplifting because she's so all about love. Like, that's her whole character, is that she's the love between these two women. Well, not really women. They're non-binary too, because I actually read. Let's. Can I talk to you over here for a second? So I actually read that Steven Universe, like, all the gems on Steven Universe aren't women. They're non-binary. They just go by she her pronouns, but none of them have genders because they're gems, of course, which I guess makes them agender. Regardless, they're not women. So just wanted to. We can come back over here now. Okay. Okay. Now that we've talked about all these different identities and all these different characters and how their identities were told through the story of fusion, now it raises the question, you know, if all those things are true of the characters and their identities, is fusion inherently sexual? Nay, nay. Now, I know you're waiting for my answer, and I'm supposed to, like, withdraw my answer until the end and reveal it. But, like, nay, nay. Nay, 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 nay. No, it's no. But I'm going to tell you the points. All the points that I have that are wrong with fusion. Okay, so Steven fuses with his family members, and a lot of people are like, why is he fusing with his family members if fusion is sexual or romantic? And I can see how people think that, given that, you know, fusion has been seen as, like, kind of sexual. Like it is kind of sexual, but it's not inherently sexual. That's my belief. Personally, but I have seen like scenes where it's like fusion is seen as inappropriate because remember that scene where um losing my train of thought. It's coming back. Coming back. There it is. Garnet and Amethyst are fusing. And when Garnet and Amethyst are fusing, they're like doing their dance, and everyone's like, it's really suggestive. I don't think it's that suggestive. But anyway, that aside, it's suggestive for the sake of the argument. Because obviously, honestly, it might be suggestive. I'm going in circles. Dances can definitely be inappropriate because we see that with the dance between Amethyst and Garnet. When Pearl like covers Steven's eyes when they're dancing and then they fuse and then yeah, and also later in that episode, Pearl fuses with Garnet under false pretenses, basically taking advantage of Garnet. And we see how this affects Garnet because she literally splits up and unfuses, and it like gives her like this inner turmoil because of how much fusion means to her. So with that in mind, that does kind of raise a question. That does kind of, you know, add a point to the side of is sexual because why would it have been taken so seriously, and also these are obviously metaphors for a sexual assault. So with that in mind, I understand why people think that it's inherently sexual, but to me, um Steven's Steven Universe's allegory of fusion isn't that complicated to me. It's platonic, it's familial, it's romantic, it's for practical use. I think that all of these things can be true at once. Like I don't think that fusion is inherently sexual. I don't think it's inherently romantic. I don't think it's inherently platonic or familial or inherently like for combat. Well, actually, that's the origin of it, but like I don't think that that is all it is what I'm saying. I don't think that that sums it up in its entirety. I think Steven Universe just shows that intimacy has different rules for different people. That's all. And you can be intimate with your friends, you can be intimate with your family, you can be intimate with your romantic partners. You can choose not to be intimate at all because of historical reasons. You've been hurt in the past, you know, and you can choose to not be intimate for whatever reason you choose to not be intimate. But I think that to say that it's inherently sexual is to oversimplify it. I don't think that it's inherently sexual. I think that it's a complicated but also not very complicated thing. It's just up to the person, you know, if they want decide to pursue it romantically, if they decide to pursue it familially, platonically, whatever it is that you want to pursue. I just think it's up to the person, and I think that if you think that it's inherently sexual, you aren't really watching this show correctly. Because how is it inherently sexual if Steven is doing it? Also, this is a children's show. We have to remember that. So I don't believe that. I don't believe that. So yeah. Say that Steven's universe's allegory of intimacy told through fusion, through the concept of fusion, is inherently sexual is to oversimplify it. And I don't think it does it justice because it's such a greatly executed concept in my eyes. I think that it just tells a lot of good stories. It tells a story of non-binary identities, aro ace identities, lesbianism. I love the things that we got told through fusion, so that in my eyes you could never take that away from the concept. Even with its criticisms, I personally think you could never take away all of the good that it did. Like, and the criticism in my eyes isn't really a criticism, honestly, guys. I haven't heard a point good enough for me to go, wait a minute, hold on. This cat's cooking, you know? I haven't heard that yet. So when I do, we'll let you know. But yeah. This is so weird. So if you like this video, you know, like and subscribe, follow us. You know, I'm gonna be making more videos. My next video, I'm gonna be tier ranking our house characters because y'all be dogging on Willow. Hold up. Let's get into it. Y'all be dogging on Willow. Willow's useless. Willow's a joke character. Shut up. Willow is that bitch. And I'm gonna show y'all next video. I'm gonna show y'all. But if you like this video, like and subscribe. I just got all hostile. But if you like this video, like and subscribe, you know. Watch the episodes that we have up of the podcast. We released one like 2-3 weeks ago, about our 20s, and it was actually a really interesting conversation. So tune in for that. Also, follow me on TikTok and Instagram, guys. I'm a fun person to follow. I don't know. I feel so weird plugging my accounts because it's just like, please, drop a follow, a like, please. But no, yeah, that's what I'm doing now because I guess I'm doing social media. So follow me. But I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, have a great day. Bye.